The fastest racer on Earth makes its way to the AT&T Stadium here as we get ready for the first ever Grand Prix of Arlington. It's free practice 2 ahead of qualifying and the Grand Prix this afternoon. We've got loads to look forward to. Let's cross over to your commentators at Fox Sports.
For everybody, the drivers are absolutely loving it. Here's how the circuit's split into 3 sectors. We have the alt start finish line running through to turns, the gap between turns 8 and 9. Sector 2 from that gap at 8, 9 to turn 11. Sector 3, 11 to the close. Well, Scott McLaughlin was fastest yesterday in practice. Alex Palou a little behind him. How will things shape up in second practice? It's coming your way in a few moments' time. Good morning, world. It's a chilly one, boys.
That's a relative term. It's chilly for Texas.
It's chilly. Well, one thing I've learned about Texas over many years of coming here is that it can be very cold in the mornings and then gets outrageously warm in the afternoons.
My least favorite kind of weather.
I like it, but cars are going to be wicked fast right now once they get a little bit of tire temp. Ideal conditions with track temp at 62 degrees. So will be misleading, I think, for teams and drivers a bit on some of the setup nuances, because once we get to qualifying later this afternoon, that Texas sun is going to be noon high, and track temp should be, you know, really close to 100, if not a little bit more.
Jack on pit lane. How you doing, mate?
Good morning, lads. I was actually just thinking about the sun as well, having a conversation with someone. I've got a jacket on right now, but no doubt later on, as Townsend would say, that noon high sun is going to be all over my forehead and red. And I think this is really a confusing time for the drivers about what are you learning right now, what do you take into qualifying, also as the track evolves, things like that. But I think people should be concerned for my sunscreen later on today.
Well, did you actually put any on today, Jack? Because we know you missed it yesterday.
Okay, so I put some after sun on from yesterday.
Yeah.
Does that count?
No. That's solving yesterday's problems. Let's try to prevent today's problems, pal. Let's get some SPF Connor Daly on that forehead of yours.
Well, is that like SPF?
That's 100.
Yeah,
SPF 100.
That's just house paint.
How about a bucket hat, Jack?
Townsend, I will never wear a bucket hat. I'll wear a bucket hat when you wear one.
Oh, any day.
Back here in Arlington on a beautiful but cold morning. Practice about to get underway. The 25 drivers of the NTT INDYCAR series are loving the challenge of this new circuit. Let's get the feelings, the opinions of Graham Rahal.
Graham Rahal, yesterday I saw you have a little pit stop before you got back in the car, but you told me this place is so bumpy it's comparable to like a Detroit, but in general, are you enjoying driving at this track?
Yeah, it's the surface and stuff is Detroit-esque, right? Even pit lane, but it's way faster, and for me, it's just awesome. I mean, I really enjoyed yesterday. Yeah, it's bumpy. It was really only bad in like one part of the track, you know what I mean? Which is the back straight. Unfortunately, everybody sees that, but everywhere else, you know, it's got character, but every street course has character. So for me, I enjoyed it a lot.
In terms of heading into qualifying, you're feeling pretty good. What's your expectation?
Well, yeah, we were okay, I'd say. There's quite a gap to those lead couple guys. You know, I don't know that we maximized our reds, but I think a lot of guys didn't either. So I think we've got to find quite a bit. The red seems to be pretty fragile tire-wise, which is as expected. The Prime also seems to have some dig, so you're going to have to nail it, I think, in qualifying. I mean, tomorrow could be super interesting with the tire dig, for sure.
All right, man. Good luck.
And good morning, race fans, and good morning, Alex Palou. It's bright, early, beautiful day in Texas. A little bit chilly, but we're not complaining here. No better way to wake up than go 190 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, at a bumpy track. But yeah, it's a bit cold, but honestly very excited to go out again today, see how the track feels. Just feels like when we go out in practice, a brand new track, we get to do like, what, 10, 8 laps. So there's a lot to learn still ahead of qualifying. Try and see if we can improve driving, improve the car, and see if we can get through qualifying as much as we can.
What do you feel like you learned yesterday?
A ton. I mean, we're struggling a lot with the car. It was a bit bumpier than we expected, I think, for everybody. I think with the speeds that we're going, 180, 90 miles an hour at the end of the straight, it just, on a straight course, it's a lot. And then just different driving lanes. Like, the track is so wide that after just checking all onboards with the teammates and just being able to compare on TV with everybody else, you can see that there's different lines to take. So yeah, we're gonna try those.
Thank you, Alex. Still a lot more to learn today, guys.
I talked to Alex Palou yesterday after first practice. I said, what do you think of the track? His first word to me was incredible. Everybody absolutely loving this place. Interesting to hear from both Graham and Alex. The backstretch with the bumps, the only real part of the track that's causing any concern. The rest of it, though, is just the challenge, the characteristics of it, the character of what makes a street track in the NTT INDYCAR series as we ride on board with our new championship leader, Joseph Newgarden.
And with every turn, every brake zone for Newgarden and the rest of the field, your body starts to grow accustomed to the bumps and the percussion, the heave of the car as it rides around this circuit. How about the sun heading straight into the east here for Newgarden? This is the bumpy section. Let's listen. Still can hear that thing slamming as we take the driver's eye version here down to Ranger's right.
This is a tricky corner, T-Bell, really downhill in the brake zone. We saw a bunch of drivers out in that runoff yesterday in practice. But, you know, just listening to Alex Palou talk, he talks about how many laps you get. A lot of these drivers only got about a dozen, maybe 16-ish laps. Like, nobody got more than 20 laps. So you're talking about going into qualifying. Let's say you match that lap count. You got less than 40 laps on this racetrack ever in history, and you're going to head into qualifying. There's still a ton to learn. The way this track is going to evolve, just being such a brand new circuit. Every lap it's going to change. Every lap it's going to get a little bit faster. And as a driver and as a team, you've got to adapt on the fly.
Palou expects the times to drop by about 2 seconds from day 1 to day 2. Our fastest lap time yesterday, a 1:34.892. That was the lap for Scott McLaughlin that took him to the top of practice times. But guys, as you were saying, you know, it is all new for them. And yes, there's sim work that can be done. And you walk the track before practice properly starts. But again, Townsend, to your point from earlier, what has caught everybody by surprise, and you see it there, the undulation, the rise and fall of this track, which wasn't shown at all on the mapping for this circuit that they had in the simulator. It looked absolutely flat as a pancake. But we get here, and it's hilly.
And that's, you know, it's hilly, it's bumpy. Again, that's the challenge with a brand new track. No usable data to build an accurate track model for those simulations. You're kind of just going off GPS data that the teams were given. And it is a challenge. It shouldn't be surprising that the teams are so surprised at how different it is as we see Ray Hall off in one of the corners. That looks like down into the final corner. Or no, that's Ranger right there, turn 12.
Good. Left front.
Sound like maybe left front lockup. Ranger's right is a tough one because of that brake zone. You kind of crest over the top of the hill coming out of turn 10. And I can tell that the drivers are all being very progressive and sort of nuanced with their brake application as the car heaves up over there. So you're really not stabbing. I really haven't seen guys hammer the brake pedal anywhere. Maybe at the end of the back straightaway into 10, they're starting to gain the confidence. But everywhere else, they kind of just lean in with the squeeze of the brake pedal so as to not upset things.
Alexander Rossi out there on track, a home race for Java House this weekend. Oh, a bit of a lockup for Alexander Rossi as well.
Double lockup there. You just hit that bump at the wrong time with the wrong amount of brake pressure. Both fronts lock up. I think that's down into turn 4. We've seen a lot of that.
And that's Mick Schumacher deep ahead. There goes Schumacher off. Schumacher used to a billiard board smooth style of street circuit. Not used to these kind of bumps. Absolutely new territory for the young German as he makes his debut in IndyCar. And there is Rossi after his lockup. It is the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, so a race of huge importance to the ECR team, to Rossi, and to his teammate Christian Rasmussen. And Rossi was looking pretty quick yesterday, 7th fastest overall.
One of the things I'm really excited about, James, for the race is what Graham Rahal told us just a little while ago before he jumped in the car, which is tire deg. Some of our best races is where you see aggressive tire degradation and a real performance fall off from new to old tires. And if you notice the surface here, largely concrete, I'd say about 80% of the lap. And INDYCAR, I think, did a good job to do the diamond grinding to kind of grit up the concrete so that it can accept the Firestone rubber. You know, the flip side of that is you get more aggressive tire degradation. So I'm really excited for the race because I think we're going to see tremendous variation in lap time, new to old, and that's where we get the comers and goers and makes for a great race.
And it creates an extra sort of strategic conversation. Big question mark on that. And you know what? After the first race of the year in St. Petersburg, with the new soft tire, which has gone a little bit harder. Oh, now that's a new camera angle. We'll talk about the tires in a little bit. I want to talk about this.
This is a great shot. It gives you a real sense of how bumpy this place is. You see the driver's helmet bouncing around. You see their hands on the steering wheel. Remember, no power steering in an IndyCar. Every bump that these drivers are hitting, it's forced its way up through the wheel. You've got to death grip that thing to keep it going straight. It's fighting you. It wants to rip the wheel out of your hands. You see Nolan Siegel here looking like a fighter pilot trying to hang on to this thing, hitting 177, 178, 181 miles an hour.
Look at the sponsor boards flashing by. If that doesn't give you an impression of the speed. Incredible. What a view.
Get his eyes off to the right to find that apex for turn 10.
Wow. Great angle. Just you can appreciate the violence of the steering kickback. Like you said, James, no power steering, but just how aggressive you have to be, how quick your hands have to be to react and recover from all of these little car dynamic moments. The roll, the heave, the yaw.
It's a replay of Nolan Siegel right on the back of Kyle Kirkwood there in the 27, going through Ranger right.
Almost into the back.
And Kirkwood's a guy that needs some laps. We talked to him last night. He was frustrated that he didn't get as much track time as he really wanted yesterday.
Well, he's doing all right now. He's sitting P1 at the top of the time, so he's found his rhythm here quite quickly.
And we're not far off the top times of yesterday. 35.5 placed 34.8 yesterday, so time starting to drop quickly. We ride on board now with Kyle Kirkwood, the most consistent driver of the opening 2 race weekends. Finds himself second in the championship standings, just 5 points behind Joseph Newgarden. Boys, a very solid start to the season for Kyle Kirkwood. As we cut through turn 9, Cowboy Corner, down the backstretch, rising up to, we saw yesterday, 180 miles an hour. Will we go beyond that today? We're expecting tailwinds. Once you start using push to pass in the race itself, we are way over it at 183, 185 max down here through lows and into the speed trap.
Any chance they trimmed out a little bit and they're finding some more speed?
100%. I mean, when you go to a brand new track, especially a slippery street circuit, you're probably going to be a bit safe on downforce. Oh, we got a moment.
That's Power and Dixon, 2 of the most experienced drivers in this field. In fact, the most experienced drivers in this field. And wondering what happened. That is down at
turn 4.
Turn 4, yeah.
Bit of a track blockage. I think I see the right or the left rear rather of Dixon's car flat.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see what happened here. So this is Dixon coming in over those bumps, kind of loses the back end right before he hits that bump. He doesn't get into the wall and then starts to go forward to clear the racetrack.
And that's right on the exit, right on apex.
It is a very tight corner. It is not easy to see around. So you hear instant rear lock. He fought it the whole way in.
Tries to spin it round.
He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get out of the way. But unfortunately for Power, completely blind coming around turn 4. Here we go. Let's watch this. Nothing. Blind. Death. Race car. Oh my goodness.
Remember Road America a few years ago?
Can you be more specific?
Canada corner exit. Was it Dixon stop there?
It was Dixon. Dixon was trying to get out of the way and drove straight into Power.
Will Power's thinking, I've seen this before.
Can you see yellow flags anywhere?
I did not.
I didn't see any yellows.
That's a great point, Will. It's a great point.
I'm not sure if there's I'm not sure if there's a flag stand down there, but there's no yellows.
Yeah, that's...
Let's take a look at driver's eye, because on Will Power's wheel, as the contact happened, I looked down and I noticed the yellow flag light was on his steering wheel display. Let's take one more look as we go to break. Watch lower left here, guys. We're not going to get it, but we'll take a look when we come back.
Hello, international people. Would you like to see some more replays? I think we'd like to see some more
Yeah.
replays. Why don't we roll that one again, guys, in the truck? Let's see if we can roll that one again and figure out if the yellow was warned. You see, now there's a yellow. Look, you see there behind the AMR crew, there's a yellow out. So there is a flag stand there. So it's odd that that yellow wasn't waving.
Well, but that's signaled, that's tied in with the on-screen display for Will Power steering wheel.
But there's a physical flag there as well. That should be...
But those two should be coordinated, but they maybe not always are. I think it's up to the local flag person to flip the switch as the yellow flag is waved. But for Will Power, I can tell you on board, in terms of his car information, he did not get a yellow warning until he was basically into Scott Dixon.
He was already mid-corner, turned in.
Here we go. Right, let's have a look. So look on the dash, and you're looking at the bottom left of the dash. So there's no flag there, and then he's in, and now, literally, as he turns it in, then he gets the yellow.
But I mean, you know, that's your eyes aren't there at that point. Your eyes are very much on the apex.
And for Will, this is 3 weekends in a row. First 3 weekends, there's been an incident.
Look at these
for him.
I am floored they're just letting him drive back like that for the number 9. Trying to nurse these things back.
It's like a couple of buddies coming home from the stockyards.
Welcome back, everybody. We are still under red flag here for Power and Dixon, who are both wheeling their cars back to pit lane. 5 incidents combined between these two in the first 3 races of the year. For Will Power, it's the 3rd weekend in a row with an incident. Now, we're taking a look here. Look at the bottom left of the dash. There's no flag to the left-hand side. As he turns it in, it's only here that the yellow suddenly illuminates on his dash. There was no flag from the marshal post. Too little too late, really, for Will Power, who was entirely innocent in that.
Yeah, that's signaling a full course caution, right? We don't have. This is what I want to see. Look to the left, anywhere along here. Yeah, was that?
No, that's sort of the orangey yellow opening to show there's an opening fence. It's not a yellow flag.
So the light that comes up on the dash, that indicates, in this case, a red flag, right? That's a full course shutdown. By that point, it's the local yellow flag that we didn't see waving, that didn't give Power any sort of warning, didn't allow him to check up his speed a little bit.
It's also very difficult for the flag person because Dixon lost it around the corner, and that flag person is further upstream. So it takes a second for everybody to figure out exactly what's happened. Just one of those circumstantial things that I think is part of street racing. But for Will Power, like you said, Will, did absolutely nothing wrong here. It's got a pretty torn up race car on the front end. So at this point, Dixon spun, but I'm not sure that the flagger would have been able to see that necessarily upstream.
And again, temporary street circuit, first time here, there's probably going to be some changes to procedure and protocol for this exact kind of thing. You know, there's a marshal on the inside there. I'm not sure who's communicating, but guys, in real time, that happens very quick.
We're talking 2 seconds.
That happens so quickly. Between Scott spinning and then Scott actually moving forward, you know, it's with only about a second after that happens before the contact. So it's a difficult situation. Blind corners.
Blind corner.
You're going to have stuff
Let's
like
blame
this.
the blind corner on this one.
Yeah, the wall was is the one at fault.
and just, can you circle that? I'm not allowed on the.
I'm not sure what you're trying to circle, pal.
Just,
oh yeah, so this
that's
here,
the flag stand.
That's the flag stand. That black square, that's one of those LED lights that alerts drivers of different conditions on the racetrack as we go back to green flag.
I'm not allowed on the telestrator.
We don't trust you.
You don't trust one with it.
With yellow lines.
And for this flagger to flag, there needs to be a communication, which I'm sure was happening, but that's the second or two that it takes to relay the message.
For sure.
Well, we're back to green as Scott Dixon's car is checked over the rear left, which took a bit of an impact from Will Power down there at turn 4. And there is the fixes happening to Will Power's car. Let's have a little look back. Start of the season, 22nd race 1, 16th race 2. He was leading race 2 until that contact with Christian Rasmussen.
Yeah, you compare that to his debut with Team Penske back in 2009, 6th in race 1 on the podium in that second race. And like you said, Will, he was tracking for a podium in Phoenix before that late contact with Christian Rasmussen. So the pace is there, the potential is there. He's not worried. The team's not worried. You just got to put it all together.
And Will, you mentioned this the other night when we were having dinner, that Will Power came out of Phoenix with the confidence of knowing that the team elevated on a short oval and that he has had a significant impact on improving the total performance of the organization. Yeah. So he should take, and I know he does, takes a lot of satisfaction from, hey, this is working. Me at this team is raising the tide for the whole program, and he showed it on track, as did his teammates.
Well, Carl Kirkwood, fastest driver around this track so far, second in the championship. We know Andretti always quickly up to speed on new circuits, always competitive on street tracks. Marcus Ericsson currently 6th quickest. And Power, obviously with a little bit of work to do, having found his way blocked by Scott Dixon. Santino Ferrucci currently absolutely flying out there on track. But we go to Scott McLaughlin, second fastest. It's McLaughlin and his teammate Newgarden, second and third. Malukas, 9th. So all 3 Penskes in the top 10. Through that turn 4, now pull it over tight into 5. Follow this round now for the long left-hander at the horseshoe. You can cut over the paint on the left-hand side there before flicking under the sweets with this right-hander, and then, boys, it starts to drop downhill into the really fast section of this track.
And this guy, great job in practice yesterday. He was quickest. He and Palou were really the class of the field yesterday. Very close in times to each other, but about 4/10 clear of third place. So both those drivers sort of figured it out from the 2 big teams. One Honda, one Chevy, you know, is very equal and even.
First time we've seen 2 wide, I think, in anger on the long back straightaway. McLaughlin blowing past Louis Foster. I loved McLaughlin's genuine enthusiasm after he jumped out of the car yesterday. He simply said, this is the best street circuit I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely loved it. He's been to Surfers Paradise, Adelaide, V8 Supercars, and of course all the street circuits on the INDYCAR regular schedule. But he just simply said this is the best. He's loving it.
Currently riding a 20-race losing streak. His career high. I was going to say winless. Yeah, not losing streak. Wow. Sorry, that's harsh.
Wow.
That's harsh.
Ouch, I felt that one.
Winless streak for Scott. But the confidence that he's carried into this year, the performance that he has in that car, pole position, of course, first time out at St. Pete on the podium. And I think entering this season, and with Penske as a whole, actually, Penske have really come to play this year.
Penske come to play every year, but they had a very uncharacteristic year in 2025. Yeah. Not the double-digit number of wins, you know, all 3 cars with multiple wins like we're used to seeing. This guy didn't get one. Power got one for Penske last year, as did Newgarden as the season closed off in Nashville, but he is very keen to correct that.
Yeah, never mind double digits. They left it until the last round to make it a double win this season.
He did. But I'm going back, I'm thinking back to what we were talking about with tire degradation throughout this race. I remember speaking to one of the drivers last night who sort of said, we're almost worried about how many sets of tires we have for this race. When you work backwards through qualifying, through the race itself, how many sets of tires you want, it's going to make your practice a little bit limited on how many sets you can use. So you're going to start seeing drivers on fairly old tires now, I think.
And critically, when we were in St. Pete, lock up Scott McLaughlin. That's down at Rangers right.
He was purple sector 1, personal best sector 2. almost finished with the lap, so he'll be a little frustrated with that.
When we were talking about those soft tires, in St. Pete, we got a new specification of the soft tire for this year, which is, I think, a lot harder than people were expecting. That soft tire lasted a lot longer, therefore, into the race than anybody was expecting. Here, this weekend, it's the exact same compound, and yet it is not lasting anywhere near as long. That's going to have huge effect on the strategy.
And don't forget that today, for the Firestone Fast 6, it's a different format. You're going to get one timed lap. So you can't make a mistake like that, and you don't get another chance to re-rack and fire off again. Everybody is going to be dancing on the tip of the needle in that Fast 6 to get pole.
So looking forward to that.
I love it. I love the fact that there's no warm-up lap. It's just out first time by. You get the green. You won't have pressure. You won't have temperature just yet. It could be the hardest qualifying session of the year.
Do you play it safe? Do you push everything out there and try and extract everything, knowing that if you make a mistake, that's your one shot at the pole completely gone? And all of this on a circuit that, when they roll into qualifying, they're still not going to know it as much as they want to.
Marcus Ericsson's now jumped to the top ahead of his teammate Kyle Kirkwood. So all Andretti at the top, which is something we're used to seeing on this type of racetrack. I see you pointing at the screen there, Will. Mick Schumacher, top rookie, just ahead of Kyle Collette. Impressive from both of those drivers right now.
Good job from Kyle Collette.
2 rookies in the top 10. Great job.
Look at this 3-pack. I love this view right here as we see Ferrucci, top of the roll hoop, right back at the helmet. And, of course, the trackside view. Ferrucci really struggling yesterday to hang on to his race car. Just said simply there's no grip anywhere. It looks like they've made some changes overnight that have helped a bit. Ferrucci 19th right now.
But again, his rookie teammate Collette is up in the top 10. As he was further ahead yesterday in practice, he was 13th. Ferrucci down in 22nd. So Santino just not really jiving with this race, which is unfortunate because it's a bit of a home race for him. He lives sometimes here in the Dallas area.
Yeah, he does. He's got a home out here. But it's McLaughlin now who takes to the top, 135.0. Ericsson second, Lundgaard, 3 teams in the top 3. Rasmussen up to 6th. Ericsson goes back to the top now on a 134.9. We are getting ever closer to the 134.89 from yesterday.
And you see that's Will Power just pulling out of the way. Ferrucci, he's back on track now, repairing the damage from that incident with Scott Dixon. It's looking like guys have started to put on a fresh set of tires. So you probably started the session on the tires you ended with
Hauger
yesterday.
Oh, Hauger.
And just continuing an impressive run. Kirkwood now.
Yeah. And that's the fastest lap we've seen around this circuit so far, 134.5, and the times continuing to tumble. Purple sectors getting set left, right, and center. This track starting to come into its own.
That's Rinus VeeKay. He's off there in one of the runoffs.
That's full form.
So, I mean, we're going significantly quicker than we did yesterday, and that was with the soft tires. So that just shows you how much this track is improving, how much the grip is increasing as laps get run here.
Well, time starting to tumble as the time runs out, rolling towards a quarter hour left here as Santino Ferrucci runs off track. We'll be back. It's Kyle Kirkwood from McLaughlin and Ericsson. Good to see Power back out. Teammates first and third.
I was going to say, he's keen to get back out just because he sees the pace that this car has. He wants to join.
I'm not convinced, James, that his steering is just right. It looked kind of right-hand down to me on the previous straightaway coming into 12. We'll have to wait till the back straightaway, but I think his steering might be a little bent. It should be after the contact that he had. Good enough maybe to make some laps. And See that? Look at the right hand down there.
It does look a little bit. I mean, you kink to the right, but in the brake zone, that's for me where you really see it. I think right there. So a bit off. Let's see what he's capable of doing, though, because, again, we know the pace is in the car. He's doing personal bests.
I agree with him, though. Hey, even if it's bent, if it's drivable, I need the laps.
100%. 100%. Getting back up to speed, you just need laps at this point. Here's a quick replay of Palou Award. This is turn 4.
Now, he's reversing. Oh. And there's the yellow flag. So they're definitely much more on it now.
Yeah, you can see the yellow flags prominently displayed there. And further down the track, you'll see the green flag. That indicates to drivers that they're through the caution zone. So let them know things are clear from there.
We're back. Kyle Kirkwood, commonly referred to as the king of the streets here in IndyCar. 4 of his 5 career wins have come on street courses. The only driver with multiple street course wins last year, taking them at Long Beach and Detroit.
He sits second in points. Best average finish so far, 3.0, a second and a fourth.
And what a brilliant start to the season he's had. I don't think we've spoken enough about him in the opening 2 races, but that really, I think, reflects the way in which he's gone about his opening 2 races, which was just quiet, plugging away, getting the job done. Townsend, I know you've known him for a long time, and one of the important things which you always stressed to him was the least worst result.
Best worst finish.
Best worst finish.
And he subscribes to that full stop. And, you know, part of that is maybe you're not going to have anything spectacular on the racetrack. You're going to take what you're given. And Kyle Kirkwood knows that he has perhaps the very best, most accomplished strategist on the box in Brian Herta calling his races. So you just do what Brian tells you. It works year after year after year. If Brian tells you to lay out, if Brian tells you to be conservative, if Brian tells you, hey, don't push too hard right now, you listen, you do it. Almost always you're going to come out with the result. They used the undercut to great effect at St. Pete. Yeah, they were a little wounded at the end on tires, but it got them a strong finish. So I just think Kyle trusts his crew implicitly, including, of course, what he hears from Brian Herta, and it's paying off 2 years in a row now.
And let's not imagine that he's only a one-trick pony. Took his first oval win last season, was second in Phoenix last week. He's competitive everywhere we go, Hinch.
But to that point that you were making there, Will, they're pulling it off in the races. Kyle Kirkwood, he's got the best average finish. His starts have not been great. 15th in St. Pete, only 11th at Gateway. They're pulling it off on Sundays. That's why we haven't been talking about him on Sundays a lot, is because he doesn't feature in the start of the race. It's not the big flashy performances from pole dominating. It's not Christian Rasmussen driving his way through the field. It's steady, it's methodical, it's right place at the right time to be there at the end.
Sounds a lot like Alexander Rossi winning an Indy 500 with Brian Herta on the stand, right? Nothing spectacular on the day except drinking the milk at the end. That's what matters.
Talking of Alex's, it's Alex Palou to the top. The 10 car on a 134.377. For the first time in a couple of years, he enters a race not as the championship leader. Does that free him up a little bit? Does it take the target off his back? As now we see his teammate, Scott Dixon, back on circuit after that incident earlier. Georgia, I know that you've been down there looking at the 9 crew working on the car, helping to get him back out on circuit.
I sure have, Will, and it's a good thing, too, because this is valuable track time for Dixon. He's only turned 4 laps today, and yesterday he didn't get any long runs as well. It was only 1-lap runs. They would come in and make a change and go back out. So this track time, very valuable, with only 11 minutes left to go. But the team worked repairing the under tray, the inside of the wheel ramp, brake ducts, and a combo of new parts and some bare bond. Obviously, he needed a new left rear tire. He lifted back to pit lane with that tire already down. But Dixon and Power both getting back out there and using up this last 10 minutes of practice.
That just shows the experience of the man to be able to take a car that damaged with that tire on the back and not damage anything more of the car than absolutely necessary. Will Power up to 5th place in so doing, just moving Caio Collet out of the top 10. He and Mick Schumacher still showing brilliantly with 10 minutes of the session remaining as
so
rookies.
Impressed with Mick Schumacher. If you just look
Power's lost his lap zone. Or
it was deleted for something. Maybe that was shortcutting somewhere. Who knows? You just look at the top 5 names right now on the board. You know, all names we would expect to be up front. These are proven IndyCar drivers, 4 race winners. Malukas a pole sitter, and then you see Mick Schumacher on a brand new circuit for everybody. So you look at how quickly can they learn. He lacks all of the IndyCar street circuit experience, but the guy knows how to drive. He's backing it up after a great weekend in Phoenix and qualifying. Mick Schumacher, brilliant so far.
Especially impressive when you consider, you know, team leader Graham Rahal down there in 22nd. The other driver for RLL, Louis Foster, he's there in 12th, so he's there thereabouts. But you got to give Schumacher props. This is a tough track to get a handle on. These bumps are not comfortable, and he's doing a great job.
Well, and also to come out of a world of very, very smooth circuits to come onto a bumpy circuit. He didn't like the bumps yesterday. His teammate Graham Rahal calls him twinkle toes, so light on the throttle that he is. But Bigfoot probably giving him some advice that you just need to keep that right foot planted to the floor, no matter how big those bumps, no matter how big the jolt down that massive 9/10 of a mile back straight. Speeds in excess of 185 miles an hour here in Arlington. Alex Palou, the fastest driver so far. Yeah, hats off to Mick Schumacher so far. That's a really good job. It's Palou quickest on a 1:34.3. Then Malukas also on a 34.3. McLaughlin 34.4. Kirkwood 34.5. Newgarden 34.6. Schumacher 34.6. Decent. And all 3 Penske's in the top 5. Penske have properly come to play this year, haven't they? Like, they want to just lay down their marker, these opening races, show that last year was an anomaly, that the rebuilds worked.
I mean, all 3 drivers are gelling, right? I mean, that was the story for me last year, is that nobody seemed to really get into a rhythm. It was, what, 15 DNFs across their 3 cars. Now we're, you know, 2.5 races in, and all 3 Penske drivers programs, frankly, you could circle and say, okay, this has been really strong. You look at Malukas, McLaughlin, of course, Newgarden, of course. They're all firing well to start the season. That's the kind of rebound Team Penske needed. They're delivering.
And I like the season that Newgarden's had, too. I mean, had to have a massive rebound drive in St. Pete. Did a great job to get up to P7 from the back of the grid after a rough qualifying. And then, you know, always a threat when you get to a short oval, and the team just executed perfectly on a day where, frankly, they weren't the best car out there.
Yeah, and I think I see a lot of parallels between Newgarden and, say, Kirkwood, in that Newgarden hasn't seemed to have to press or make hero moves, big, brave Newgarden, you know, wow moments to pull it off the points lead right now. He's just executed. That's what he told us he needed to do. We just need to execute. I've got all the tools, and he's driving like that. It's paying off.
And what I like with Newgarden as well, I mean, look, winning helps, but talking to him the other day, he's happy. Like, well, he's happy again. There's a joy in Joseph that was lacking for the whole of last year. It was just frustration, building on frustration.
Winners are generally miserable when they're not winning. I mean, look at you after basketball last night.
I believe, Kevin, that I actually won. Yeah. Bizarrely.
Welcome back to a beautiful day here in Arlington. I was a little bit breezy on pit lane, so I decided to come up to one of the suites and hang out for a second, and we got to see one of the really unique features of this racetrack. And of course, I'm talking about this split lane, and this is just a fantastic view. One thing that's interesting to note, some of these drivers and teams intentionally picked being on the left or the right based off of how good a job the fueler was doing and his preferred side. Just something that's kind of interesting about an already cool venue.
Jack up there in the posh seats. That's your gig normally, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd like to see what kind of suites are in the suites. Like what's on offer behind you there? I see some spirits for sure.
Yeah, Jack, there's a distinct lack of beverage in your left hand there, pal.
I know it's early, but
to be honest, guys, we had a fun night last night. There's no doubt about it. Some of you went to the gym. I went to the concert. I may have had a beverage in hand. Maybe I'll even get one in a second. It's breezy down here. I need something to get me warm.
Hair of the dog, brother. Hair of the dog. That's what you need.
the results of that will be able to be heard on the Indy Next commentary coming your way shortly after this practice session. Back on board with Carl Kirkwood. Top of the pile.
Wow,
1:33.6. Huge. That's 1.2 quicker than we went yesterday.
And again, we're still on the hard tires.
Oh, big lockup.
That's just showing you how much this track's evolving. It's great to see those lap times come down. And Andretti 1-2 right now. So he's doing a little Dukes of Hazzard stuff there, getting the 27 turned around.
Little Dennis Hauger action. Shades of Phoenix.
Clear behind here.
He's never going to live that down, is he, Dennis? It was that impressive.
So right before the lockup, you heard that skating, that floor hitting.
That was a flying Scandi right there.
That's lovely. Job done. Back in. Kirkwood from Ericsson.
P1 right now. Marcus is P2, 4/10 back.
Palou is third. Malukas, McLaughlin, Lundgaard, Newgarden, Schumacher, and Rossi jumps up to sixth. Fast times being set as we stand, and we move now to David Malukas on his first ever IndyCar pole last season. Yellow flags and in and red, and that is Newgarden. No. And the front left suspension is done.
Is that turn 2?
Where is that?
That's right outside our window here.
Left front bend.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's our porta potty right there.
you can almost see it. That's an interesting way. Turn 2, it does fall away a little bit just after turning before you get to the apex. T-Bell, you got that transition left to right, 1 to 2. I wonder if maybe he lost the rear end on entry.
I don't see any damage to the right front as if he clipped the inside wall, but you do drop off aggressively. In fact, we hear the left front end fence hitting almost every car as it compresses through the bump there. Jonathan Duguid looking on. Let's see what happened here.
So I wonder if he
see that
he
lost the
bump.
back, I think.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think he lost the back, overcorrects. It's very similar to the crash that Dixon had at turn 9 in St. Pete, where he came in, lost the rear on entry, overcorrects. Let's watch it here.
Yep, you called it.
Good to get his hands off that wheel right before contact, but
was he on new tires? It seemed awfully slow and slick for the speed he was traveling.
They look pretty fresh.
Maybe that was first time lap.
Well, this is going to be fascinating for qualifying coming up later today, for the race tomorrow, because the blend for pit exit is precisely where Newgarden just skitted into the wall. The championship leader out of practice with 2 minutes remaining.
checker flag has fallen on this session, but this, again, we've gone back to the similar format, same format that we run in practice 1. So that's the 40-minute all skate done, 2 12-minute segments coming up, group split in half. Joseph Newgarden will not participate.
Schumacher still in the top 10, top rookie. Caio Collet 13th, Hauger 15th. Nice, nice showing from all three of them.
This rookie battle is going to be just awesome down the stretch.
And I like how varied it is.
Yeah.
You know, you got very different levels of experience across the field there with those 3 drivers. And
we never would have picked Mick to be the top qualifier of the rookies
at Phoenix.
You know, Hauger, brilliant at St. Pete in qualifying. Cal Collet's like the steady, consistent, super smooth inputs. I've been so impressed with how confident and what's the term? Sort of measured his inputs are, controlled, especially here on the street circuit. He looks fantastic. He looks like a guy that absolutely belongs as well. So who's your pick, James? Tough to say down the stretch for me. It's too early for me to even dare predict Rookie of the Year.
I wouldn't play that game. It's but it's going to be a good battle. It's not going to be, you know, a steamroll, I don't think, for anybody. A lot of different tracks still coming up. We still don't know how any of these drivers perform on a road course.
The World Baseball Classic continues tonight as Shohei Ohtani leads Japan against Venezuela. It all begins at 9 Eastern, only on Fox. Top 10 in practice so far. Kirkwood, Ericsson and Palou, Malukas, McLaughlin and Rossi, Lundgaard, Newgarden, Schumacher and O'Ward. That's the all-skate. 2 split sessions to follow, just as we saw yesterday. Can anyone go faster than Kirkwood? 1:33.6, the fastest we've seen so far. There is Joseph Newgarden. Face says it all. 8th fastest, 1:34.6. There is clearly time to find out there, but this circuit bites. We've seen it. Seen it a number of times today and yesterday.
You want to know you're at a new track without being told you're at a new track. Just look at the gap in the top 10. Almost 1.2 seconds covering the top 10. That's normally an entire field in the IndyCar series. Certainly a much longer street course than we're used to, at 2.73 miles. I mean, that's almost a mile longer than St. Pete. So there's a lot of racetrack.
I also think it speaks to maybe the one-lap peak performance of the tires. You know, maybe some haven't had a chance to really land it. Maybe somebody had traffic on their one lap as well. I think qualifying, like I said, it's going to be so tricky. It's going to be like an Indy 500 qualifying in terms of just stitching it all together and nailing it. It always is, but I think you're going to get one chance to get it right on peak tire performance.
And we could see huge disparity, because if you get caught up behind someone in the opening sector, lap gone.
Yep.
Similarly, though, you find someone and you get a tow on the run from 9 to 10, even between 10 and 12. That's going to give you a bit of a leap, bit of a boost.
And one thing we've seen is these brake zones are tricky, you know, no matter what.
They're not straightforward by any stretch.
Not at all, and easy to make a mistake.
I wonder if we're going to see any team games on the whole towing down the back straight strategy. Talked to one technical director that said the conversation's been had. It's being considered.
Well, we are in Arlington for the 3rd race in 3 weeks to kick off the 2026 INDYCAR season. It is wonderful to be here in Dallas, Texas. What a show they've put on, what a track they've created. The Cowboys, the Rangers, and INDYCAR coming together to set a new standard for track construction and really just for the entire operation of the weekend. What an event this is. It feels like a step into the future, and a brilliant circuit and a joy, a real joy to be here. Right, Jack's left the fancy suites. He's down on pit lane with Joseph Newgarden.
Joseph, it looked like there was just a little bit of a rear lock, or the rear kind of jumped out and then it bit, slight contact with the wall. Just tell us from your perspective what happened.
Yeah, I should have just nosed it straight in and only broke the nose cone. Probably could have put me back, but broke the left front. It was very slow, but yeah, I just had a rear lockup, ran out of room.
And then heading into qualifying, does this put you on the back foot at all? The speed's been great, so hopefully it's all good.
I don't think so. I mean, we didn't lose too much track time, but I mean, I would have rather had another run.
Good luck, mate, man.
I mean, I got to be honest. He says I should have just nosed it in. When it's tires, that's one thing. Nosing straight into concrete, that's not a great angle to hit. I think he did the right thing.
I'm not sure he had an option.
Yeah, fair.
He was wrecking. He was a passenger for most of that.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear the frustration in his voice as well. You know, it's almost just annoyance. I think he's just a little bit annoyed that the last last time in the car, last lap that he did before he goes into qualifying, you know, ended up with that sort of incident. But he's a pro. He's a two-time champ. He's going to be able to brush that one off. But you can see him laughing. He's cool.
I'm interested to see how much the times drop now in these two sessions, if they drop at all. We're already 1.2 seconds quicker than we were yesterday. Alex Palou overnight suggesting we would see increases up to around 2 seconds today. We're not far off that.
I don't know if you can afford to throw another set of sticker blacks on at this point. 5 sets of primaries, 5 sets of alternates, total allocation for this weekend. You know, we think it's going to be a 3-stop race. But if you end up into 4-stop territory, you really want to start thinking about preserving tires. But if you take a look at the left front there for the 18 of Romain Grosjean, that is a sticker Firestone hard compound tire. So this will be a car to watch. We know he's on stickers, not Malukas. I think he's on used tires right there.
If you're new to the INDYCAR series, or even if you're not, a new rule is that you have to run 2 sets of the alternates minimum in races on road and street courses this year. They don't have to be, oh goodness me, there's people crossing the track. This will be red flagged immediately.
Is that a catering crew?
It's a catering crew.
Oh my gosh.
Made a dog's dinner of that.
Tell me you had a first-time street circuit with that. Tell me you had a first-time street circuit. Once again, that's frustrating for the teams. I mean, that's a waste of time. That doesn't need to happen.
Terrifying too, frankly.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
That it's that close.
For sure.
Shouldn't happen. Like, bottom line. Yeah, on the tyre rules, whether you're new or not, there are new rules this year. 2 sets of the soft, the alternate tyre, have to be run in the race on road and street courses. They don't have to be brand new sets. They can be used sets. So that means you are likely to have you're going to have a minimum of 2 stops to use the primary and 2 sets of the alternate. But if the primary is the tyre you want to be on, as we would suggest it might be around this circuit, then you're going to want to run the majority of the race on that primary and get rid of the alternates as swiftly as you can if they're not really working for you. So, green flag, red flag, back to base. Hopefully it'll be turned around swiftly and we'll be back to green again.
It'll be a short one for sure, but it's just frustrating. Again, long track, long lap like we talked about, so this L lap takes quite a bit of time. And I believe the clock, does the clock keep running? No, the clock does not run, which is great. They're
going to get their full session, so we're going to run away, have a quick commercial break, and we'll be straight back as practice resumes. Maybe Joseph ordered a pizza. He's off to
pick it up.
Yeah, he's off to see the Just Eat, the Uber Eats guys. They didn't know. Yeah, that's frustrating. That's frustrating.
I love we're using some football technology here on that cable cam in pit lane. That's a great shot. Be able to track the cars as they're doing they're 40 miles an hour. It's down from 45 when we do this split pit lane, which we also do in Detroit. It reduces slightly from 45 to 40.
You think we could put Georgia up there for the race and she can just zip up and down sitting on top of the cam and
don't see why not.
Cover her stops?
Don't see why not. What do you think, G? You wanna hook up to the cable and go for a ride?
I am so ready. It's been flying over my head this entire session. I keep thinking it's a bird, and then I look up and it is a lot faster than what it looks. But yeah, I'll get up there.
Nice.
I'm ready.
Wait. Should look like Pink.
Tell you what,
spinning around and
every one of these camera angles, I continue to think to myself, wow, this is an impressive track build. The way it's laid out, I love the river running through both stadiums there. That's here year round. But a lot of thought went into figuring out how to wind a 2.7-mile street circuit through parking lots, roads, parks, etc. I think everybody just crushed it on this. So congrats all the way around. Greg Penske and his whole team making it happen.
Yeah, big props to Greg on this. It's a great track. The challenge of the opening section, the long blasts. You don't often get that on a street circuit that encompasses all of these different, really tricky elements.
We saw one moment there. Who was it passing Louis Foster on the back straightaway? Was that McLaughlin?
McLaughlin.
And boy, I already started to sort of tighten up, James, and I think to myself, what's it going to be like with 25 cars on the start on Sunday, 2 wide, maybe 3 wide, navigating that long straight? It's going to be awesome.
Back in Arlington, practice about to get underway on a glorious day here in Texas. Can anyone depose Kyle Kirkwood, fastest of the day so far? Joseph Newgarden will go no further, a crash taking him out of the session. Just some final track checks taking place.
Making sure all the crossings are closed properly.
Last call for a cream puff cart. Last call.
Are you...
Man, I love a cream puff.
Is that just a fancy Twinkie?
No, a cream... You know the cream puffs that we had at Milwaukee last year.
Oh.
It's like a chocolate eclair that's not dipped in chocolate.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's a fancy Twinkie. I think that's actually...
It's not a fancy Twinkie.
It's kind of like a fancy Twinkie.
It's not as spongy, the dough, as Twinkie dough.
No.
And the cream's not fluffier, right? It's not as
But the
dense
cream, the cream is more of a kind of a whipped cream.
Whipped
cream, whereas the Twinkie cream is more of a
sugary.
No, it's not custardy. It's very sugary.
Okay, it's like an icing almost.
Yes, almost.
Right.
So a Twinkie is like a cake with a thin strip. Oh, I say thin. It's
of icing.
Yeah, very sticky kind of creamy icing.
Is there any real cream in Twinkie cream?
I don't think there's any real anything.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'll be honest with you.
I think real's a word that you use when describing the ingredients.
Long after mankind has departed the surface of this earth, all that will be left will be Twinkies.
Yep.
And the cream puff is a whole thing. It's like a large shoe bun filled with whipped cream.
A shoe bun.
A shoe bun. CHOUX.
How about that matcha tiramisu last night?
That matcha tiramisu last night was incredible.
That went down like...
My word.
Yeah, it did. You guys didn't even give us a bite.
No.
The two of you're like, oh, T-Bell orders it. He goes,
thought about
we
handing
can share
you something, and then after the first bite, I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
Kevin and I are like, oh, that looks good. We looked over our shoulder. We turned back around. You two devils had devoured the whole thing.
I haven't had a Twinkie or a Twizzler all year. You stick a dessert in front of me, it's gone. Okay? It's gone.
I've been handed a note of the difference between Twinkies and cream puffs by our staff.
Notable moments in Arlington. Well, here we go. Super Bowl. Of course, NCAA Final Four. CFP National Championship. I'm sure we had some we did. Of course, we had some WWE here. WrestleMania 32. And the World Series. I mean, they've had it all here in Arlington. And now they have INDYCAR. As we wait for the final checks, one of the men most instrumental in the championship success of the man rewriting the record books, Alex Palou, is his very own Barry Wanzer.
You are right about that, Will. We're catching up with Barry here while we have a little bit of a break. Alex was fast in the all-car practice, going to our group practice now. But what have you been learning? What do you make of this place so far?
Well, I think what we learned yesterday is how bumpy the track was, and I know they addressed some of those bumps last night, certainly helping out the bottom of the cars. But we're really just trying to work towards qualifying and get ready for that. Car's really quick right now on the used hard tires, and we're going to run our second set here in the split group, so we'll see how it goes.
So it's a little chilly, it's a little windy. Obviously later when qualifying rolls around, it's going to be toasty in that Texas sun. How much can you take from a session like this when you know conditions are going to be so different?
I mean, you definitely learn a lot. I mean, the grip is starting to come up. It was definitely a little bit slippery this morning than anybody expected, but we expect track conditions to be similar to yesterday afternoon when we ran, and the grip should be up, and we expect even faster lap times, so we'll see how it goes.
Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome. Thanks.
So still under red here as we wait for the track to be officially and finally inspected. And you know what, I take my hat off to race control for this, because you cannot ever have a scenario where you're rolling to green and there are people on the track. Yes, it's a new event and obviously still finding its feet, but you got to make sure that, you know, people who may be attending a race or working a race for the first time, that they know what the parameters are and they know what the rules are.
There's probably 25 different access points where there's a break in the concrete block around here for safety vehicles, for track crossing when the track's not hot, but primarily for safety vehicles. And you got to make sure the perimeter's secure. And I think that's what we're looking at right now, is just taking the time to slow down for a second, check in with all of those access points, and make sure that everything's sorted.
I just want to touch back on something that Barry Wanzer was saying, how IndyCar did a bunch of grinding overnight. That's, you know, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work, and it's great that the series took the feedback from the drivers after first practice, got out there with a concrete grinder, especially down that back straight, to find a few high points that were doing quite a bit of damage to the bottom of these race cars. And we spoke to Kirkwood saying that he had an aluminum skid, the bottom layer that protects the tub of the race car. They'd worn through an aluminum skid, which is hard to do in about a dozen laps. So you can see areas where it's ground there, in where that rubber is.
And they did that in Toronto last year with the bump that had sort of arisen on the run down to that major braking zone on the back stretch there too.
I think it's right in here that they ground last night, I believe. This is the speed trap, turn 10, known as the speed trap because that is terminal velocity, 185 miles an hour, the top speed we've seen so far. That's without push to pass, that's without the draft, and maybe a big tailwind coming tomorrow.
We heard from an interview pre-session with Graham Rahal yesterday that he thought they'd be potentially tickling 200 in the race when you get all those different elements. That tailwind is a big part of it. Certainly push to pass, extra 50 horsepower that these cars get blasting down there and towards the speed trap.
Bring it on. Now, folks, you probably will have seen some of those brick sections crossing the track. Might remind you of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What they actually are, those were walkways. And what they've done is they've actually had to grind them down and replace them with ground level sort of rows of bricks, so that the sidewalk will still exist for people when these are normal city streets, but just not at that raised level. So that's a big part of the work that's been done to turn this from the normal city streets into a functioning race track. And we are green and we are rolling.
We are green, we are rolling. In these sessions, the first red is free. After that, the clock runs regardless. So 12 minutes, well, it actually never started. Technically, the clock starts when the first car hits the alternate start-finish line. So these guys were lucky in the sense that that clock hadn't been triggered when that red was thrown.
So that red wasn't a red?
The red well, it counts as a red, but they haven't spent any time. They didn't waste the time of that outlap on the clock. So full 12 minutes left. Any further reds in this first group of practice, that clock will keep running. And we kind of got our question answered there, Townsend, about tires. Barry Wanzer saying that the 10 of Palou had been running around on used tires. Our data said he had over 20 laps, about 24 laps on that set. So now they're going to put on a new set in preparation for qualifying. You want your driver to be on new sticky tires for the last laps that he runs before you get to qualifying. Give it that feeling as close as you can for when they throw those soft red sidewalled alternate Firestones when we get to qualifying.
So I'm hearing that the red doesn't count as a red because the session hadn't officially begun with the clock ticking down. So if we get a red, then the new red, which is the second red, will actually be the first red, and then the second red, which would have been the third red, will actually be the second red.
I've gone cross-eyed.
Clear as mud, but apparently correct. Let's just watch cars on track.
Let's do that. Let's address a red if a red ever happens. Now you see the clock sort of started going. There we go. Because the cars, David Malukas had made it all the way around to the adult start finish line to get things underway. And we ride on board with the young Chicago native now.
Down through turn 3, the blast down to turn 4, where we had that incident between Will Power and Scott Dixon earlier. Pull it to the right, get it all the way down, 60 miles an hour, turn it in, clip the apex, and immediately back right again before the long left-hander. Tricky corner this, over the paint at the horseshoe. Then you're braking down. 65-70 to the right, double right, triple right now going down through 9. And you'll see again, they can run over that paint. A little bit of grip, get the power down as early as you dare, run out wide for the long blast, which will take us above 185 miles an hour, down past the Lowe's Hotel and into the biggest braking zone, potentially the biggest overtaking opportunity on this track, down into the area that we are dubbing, and the circuit has dubbed, the Speed Trap. There you go, on the brakes. This will be the first turn for the race itself on Sunday. A quick blast now down through this kink of a right-hander into Rangers right, turn 12 on the circuit. Hug the wall, run out to the left. We saw Rosenquist get the back end out and hit the barrier there yesterday. And now the final turn, it funnels, it gets incredibly tight. Be precise, as late on the brakes as you dare. Hit that wall and through and over the line. And that's your lap of Arlington.
Watching here, Alex Rossi into turn 4 there. You see it perfectly. Right as the car hits that bump, car gets light at the front. Alex is on peak brake pressure. Both front tires instantly lock.
We were thinking turn 4 could be an overtaking opportunity. How much will that bump put paid to anybody making an attempt there, or will they still try it?
I mean, you're going to try it anywhere you can in an IndyCar, but you're going to pull it off because a driver's making mistakes like that. That's where you're going to see the real issues come race time. But that was an extended period of brake lock on both fronts. No doubt Rossi's dealing with a pretty decent vibration right now. And if that is a new set, that's a little bit of a waste almost.
Back to Dixon.
I think another area where it gets pretty dramatic on new street circuits is in the race. What happens when you pull offline? So as you fire down here, 180, 185 almost coming to the speed trap corner. You duck to the inside, you are on uncharted concrete for the first time. Where are the bumps? What's the grip like? It can be treacherous there.
No highline / offline practice here to get that to get the braking zone rubbered in. Oh, and that is Hauger.
Looks like he might have just stalled it there, getting it in gear.
It's still running. So again, this is down in Rangers right, turn 12. It's again, it's so downhill. You got all this inertia, all this momentum. It's so hard to get the car slowed down. Not able to do the Kirkwood Dukes of Hazzard spin to get going, but he eventually figured it out, and he is rolling.
ECR 1-2, Rasmussen and Rossi to the fore.
In the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, that's not a bad thing for these guys.
Stop the count.
Now remember, Kirkwood's time, just for reference, in the All-Skate was a 133.6. So obviously everybody's still getting up to speed here in this first split group. 7:50 to go on the clock. Ray Hall now jumps up into P2.
Does anybody dare throw reds on here?
No.
Even a guinea pig, even a rookie. Do you say to Cal Collette, hey, we need you to take one for the team here and give us a chance to break maybe into the top 12. We're willing to sacrifice a set of tires at the end to get a balance. I agree with you. I don't think anybody will, but I've been surprised before.
Fair enough. Both the new rules where you have to run 2 sets of softs in the race, it makes that a little bit harder, especially if you want to use extras in qualifying. Eyes now on Christian Rasmussen, the Rasmanian Devil, as he had such an incredible performance last week in Phoenix. The result, not what you wanted it to be, but man, was it an impressive drive. As we see, I believe that's the 7 of Christian Lundgaard.
Meanwhile, his teammate, known as Siegel, jumps up to 2nd.
Look at that. Sporty.
Very.
Yeah, Raz had a great drive, becoming a bit of a short oval specialist Almost like a young Joseph Newgarden. But he was beat by an old Joseph Newgarden, who's still the champ.
Understand the 15 here, Graham Rahal.
Oh, boy.
A little bit.
Oh, he hit the wall.
Kiss, just a little kiss. I think he's going to get away with that one.
Kiss and a cuddle here with the wall, similar to what we saw at a Stingray Rob in practice yesterday. Little rear lockup, and it just kicked the car to the side. He was close enough to the wall that he didn't have any kind of momentum towards it and could just brush off and keep going.
He went for a kiss and he got a slap.
So as you say, got away with it. Stingray Rob, he didn't yesterday. He only got 5 laps, which on a new track, that is just brutal.
Yeah.
For the young driver from Idaho, driving for JHR.
Stingray apparently is out on the soft tire, so trying to make this track time work for him, having lost all of that track experience yesterday.
Well, he didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, so for him it makes sense to give it a whirl. His session was done before anybody threw on those soft Firestones.
But you're giving up a set of your 4 that are non-warm-up sets. So I like the strategy though there for Stingray Rob. They know they're in a hole. They're, you know, looking for a chance to maybe just get a decent qualifying, likely not a top 12, certainly not a top 6 prospect at this point. So they're going to get some valuable data here. And you know who really benefits? Rinus VeeKay, his teammate, right? Going into qualifying, that's going to really give the driver, the 76, a chance to study that data, the engineers to make some decisions. And if VeeKay does really well in qualifying, you can thank Stingray Rob for what he's doing right now. So in terms of ordering brake zone difficulty, I'd say turn 4, clearly the toughest. Maybe Ranger right, number 2 on the list. What else have we seen?
And then Speed Trap.
Speed Trap, yeah.
I love this on board down here. It is so fast. And can you imagine when we're running too wide to the start of the race, which they will be doing down here. This is where we will have the start of the race. Oh, and we are racing, and that is Palou putting the move on Stingray Rob. That will be the opening turn of the contest, similar to what we do in Detroit. So the start-finish line obviously is just before turn 1, but we will actually get the race underway on that long blast from turn 9 to turn 10, from Cowboy Corner down past Lowe's and into the speed trap.
And here's the thing, it's a 9/10 of a mile back straight, but it's anything but straight.
Yeah.
And even though those are subtle, you know, bends and arcs in the road at 180 miles an hour, that's still a lot of stress on the tire, a lot of force that the car is dealing with over those bumps. And you mentioned it, T-Bach, talk to some of these drivers who are nervous about this start. You're going to be on full fuel, which no one's done yet. You're going to be on cold tires. You're going to be side by side, and if you're starting mid-pack, you've got a ton of dirty air in front of you, a lot less downforce on these cars. You can still hit us, you know, 170 miles an hour off that start on a bit of racetrack you've not been on, bumps you've not felt, on a low downforce, cold tire, full fuel car. It could be a recipe for some sketch factor, as you like to say.
Tell you, nothing sketch about the way Palou drives the street circuit. This guy looks so dialed in right now. Those last 4 corners, the surgeon is going to work. Feel better hope that they get something figured out to not allow him to do what he did at St. Pete to start the season, which is completely dominate on race pace, opening up a record-setting gap at the finish.
His teammate Kevin Simpson just ahead of him on the racetrack. Hopefully that doesn't hold him up at all. If anything, maybe he got a bit of a toe there.
I love that Palou uses white gloves, meaning he's like, hey, you can watch all you want,
so long as
you're not going to be able to just study my hands and figure out what I do. I'm not going to try to
and that is Armstrong.
Hide anything as Marcus Armstrong goes off.
At Ranger. Red flag.
That's out of the last corner.
Oh, that's the last corner.
That was...
Go ahead, go red 2. It's red here for you. It's red here for you.
Palou did
I can't really see there.
Yeah, he's having to rely on spotters there to make sure.
Yeah, no rush.
Good move from INDYCAR to throw that red, which, to Will's earlier point, counts as the first red of this session. So that's why you see the clock frozen there at 2:23. But Palou did get to the line before that red was thrown, a 1:33.5, so a 1/10.5 quicker than what Kirkwood had managed in the all-skate earlier. And let's see what happened to Armstrong.
Oh, back just goes.
Yeah, just, I mean, look, the big thing to notice here, guys, is that the difference in pavement. You see the light-colored concrete mid-corner that goes into that freshly paved asphalt on exit, and over that concrete, little less grip, just lost the back of the car.
Power cycle, then restart.
Having trouble firing up the number 66.
Speaking of firing up, it looks like that right front is just on the verge. So
well, we saw that from Rinus VeeKay yesterday when he stopped in one of the runoffs. Both rear brakes caught fire. AMR safety team having to douse the 76. So yeah, that's the color contrast just shows you the different surfaces that these drivers are dealing with. And sometimes that might be, I mean, that's actually 3 different surfaces. There's old concrete on the entry, mid-corner, there's that fresh new concrete, and then it goes into the asphalt.
I did manage to get it fired then.
Starting to sound like a road contractor.
So there you go. Like this, all 3 of these surfaces, and you can almost argue 4, and that's not including the kind of black strip in between the old concrete and the new concrete. They all have different levels of grip, and as you are transitioning from the entry to the corner to the mid-corner face to the exit, it is constantly changing, and that's why you have to have such a good feel through the wheel, through the pedals, through the seat at what the grip level is.
It's like a monochromatic Neapolitan ice cream.
Stop, you dessert deprived.
Just get this man a Twinkie. Can we just get him a Twinkie and be done with this?
It's a great point, though, James, because you've got to know what you're entering into. So if you are going from high grip to low grip, you've got to be very careful how much you rotate the car on the brake pedal as you trail into the corner. If you're going from low grip to high grip, you can be aggressive and really yaw the thing, knowing that the rear is going to bite up at the exit as you get to the higher grip surface.
One thing we didn't really note is the fact that Armstrong had bumped up to P2 right before that incident.
Yeah.
So a 33.9, it's a pretty sporty lap. That would have put him second behind Kirkwood in the All-Skate earlier. So the pace there for the Meyer-Shank machine.
Tasty. Also, that Palou with a 1:33.5 has now set the fastest lap we've ever seen around this Arlington circuit. I wonder what we will drop down to in qualifying later on today. But the time is improved once again. A 1:33.5 is now far, far in advance of where we were yesterday.
That is over a second faster than P3. David Malukas.
Green flag.
So green flag with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. They should all get round if they deem it worth their time to go back out. Dixon, I don't believe will. His teammate Stingray Rob will.
Interesting to note that the fastest turn 4 trap speed so far has been recorded by Mick Schumacher, 117 miles an hour. And then on the backstretch, Kirkwood and Palou have both seen 185. What's the common line there? All 3 are Hondas.
That is interesting.
You have 30 seconds. And in this scenario, when race control dubs, it's time for 1 lap to go, something they can do if it goes green under a certain time threshold. You've got 30 seconds to leave pit lane to be guaranteed your 1 lap. That 30 seconds is come and gone. So if you were planning on going, you're done now.
I'll tell you what, good practice right here for drivers that think they might have a shot at the Firestone Fast 6 shootout. Again, it'll be a single car qualifying format for the first time in a long time, and they will get just this: an out lap to the alt-start finish, 1 green lap, and in.
I'm very excited to see that. I think it's a great addition, which we will have here for the Firestone Fast 6. If it works and everybody likes it, you should see it rolled out at future races in 2026. I think it's a great experiment to take and a great decision to make as we ride on board with Alexander Rossi, courtesy of Java House app.
Top Gun cam treatment as we go under the 3 box. This is great. See the driver's eye, look back at the driver, and then see from the outside what he's up to. You got the telemetry monitoring what the car's doing. This is the multi-view you didn't know you needed.
This is great. Iron Man cam, Top Gun cam.
That little section there, Townsend, almost reminds me of Belle Isle, turn 10-11. You have that long left-hander
into a tight
right-hand hairpin. And we used to see some passes there. I could see potentially some moves being made, especially late in the race, if this tire degradation really does kick up.
For any F1 fans watching, reminds me of Sochi. A lot of Sochi.
Does it?
Long left-hander, immediately into a right.
Right.
Very, very similar.
You just hear him kissing the hard limiter as he hits bumps. But, you know, when you're that high in the rev range, the soft limiter kind of keeps it at a decent place, and then you hit a bump, it can blow through the soft limiter, hit the hard limiter. That's hard on these engines.
Working pretty well for Rossi as Ed Carpenter gives the instruction. Timeline in pit. Rossi goes to P4. Still a second off Palou.
And that'll be all she wrote. Rasmussen improves to 7th. Lundgaard pushing on into Rangers right.
Alt start finish line right there. He jumps up to P6. Palou, top of the times right now. Can he get any better in his final lap?
Certainly looks like it. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Still stays at a 33.5.
Kyle Collette leading the rookie battle right now. P8, Hauger P11. Mick Schumacher will be in the second group. We'll see what kind of time he can do, but Palou sits on top right now.
It's a Honda 1-2. It's a Chevy 3-4. All to play for here in Arlington. But Alex Palou, the fastest driver so far here in Dallas. We never finished our
dessert discussion.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? If we're talking about tiramisu,
matcha tiramisu.
Matcha tiramisu. I've discovered with Twinkies that, well, I discovered last year. I've given up Twinkies this year. But if you dip a Twinkie into an espresso, number one, great breakfast snack. Not for your health, but just for taste.
Breakfast snack.
Yeah, but number two, number two, I would like to see somebody make a tiramisu, but the base,
I think it's been done,
is Twinkies dipped in espressos.
Oh, dipped in espresso, yeah.
Because the base is supposed to be
a Twinkimasu.
You use ladies' fingers and dip them in espresso. They're a kind of a cake.
They're called lady fingers.
Yeah.
I don't think you say ladies' fingers.
Oh, lady fingers. Weird. It's same difference.
So you wanna.
I want to use Twinkies.
You want a Twinkigato.
Yeah.
Which is basically an affogato Twinkie program there as the base of your tiramisu.
So if you use vanilla ice cream rather than the sweet cream.
We'll figure this out later.
Dude. We are back for the second group of second practice. Alex Palou so far has set the fastest lap we've seen around this Arlington circuit of a 1:33.5. Fastest from Marcus Armstrong. Little spin towards the end of the session, but managed to get back to pit lane where Georgia Hennebury was waiting for him.
Marcus Armstrong jumped up to second right before that little moment there at the end of the session. Is that really just a product of trying to learn and test the limits before qualifying?
Yeah, it wasn't my finest moment, I'll give you that, but it's one of those things where, like, this is the time to push, you know? Like, if there's a time to make a silly mistake like that, it's now, and that's okay. I mean, back in the olden days when I was a young lad, they used to encourage us to crash because then we'd go and find the limit. I didn't go as far as crashing, but at least we found the limit.
They did some improvements to the track last night. Was it noticeable to you?
No, not really. It's very bumpy out there. I even felt a bit woozy last night when I left the track because it's like super bumpy down the main straight. But that's also a product of our ride height. So, yeah.
Best of luck in qualifying. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
When I was young, says the 25-year-old.
And at what point in your career did somebody tell you to go out and crash?
I've got my hand up, guys, because I was going to say I've been around the sport a long time, met a lot of people in it. Not once have I ever heard someone say in that way that we're encouraging you to crash.
Maybe we've just had an insight into the Ferrari Junior program.
That would actually make some sense.
I mean, he was a part of that for the longest time. We'd have to double check with Callum Eilert and Robert Schwartzman and Mick Schumacher, all IndyCar drivers who have been through that Ferrari Junior program.
Big variable there is who is paying for the parts.
Correct. Yeah, I guess I never had, yeah, that was never an option for me. It was usually the other way around.
I know that there were drivers through history who would increase their pace corner by corner, lap by lap, until the car snaps on them, and then they realize, oh, well, I've gone over the limit of adhesion there, and now I know that's the limit. Famously, like a driver like Gilles Villeneuve. Very, very famous.
You don't know the limit until you go over it.
Exactly, but I think the specific order of go out and crash
is, yes.
I remember my rookie year hearing something like I'd done $1 million in crash damage through like the first 6 races of the season, and at no point did anybody say, but we're really happy that we found the limit.
Oh, great to see Will Power back on track after his incident.
Kind of limit of the budget.
He had a little bit of a break there for the team to go look through the rest of the car, make sure that there were no lasting effects. Like you mentioned, T-Bell, it looked like his steering was a little bit right. He went back out after that contact with Dixon.
Is it still askew?
Well, right now is on the combined times, Kirkwood P2, Ericsson P4.
I'd say Power's steering looks dialed in now. So
no, there's no power steering.
Sorry.
I'm just messing.
I was like, did I just say power steering?
I'm just messing.
I did. I said Power's steering.
I gotcha.
Oh, this looks a right hand down still.
Oh, and it's a little bit long. Oh, same corner. Different problem.
We turn 4 still?
Yeah, turn 4 is definitely a hot spot.
Askew, obviously, the 2019 Indy Lights champion.
Old Oliver. This section's so cool, guys. It's so unique for a street circuit. So, yeah, bump number 1, bump number 2. There's 2 massive unloading moments there, unloading events.
That's going to be tricky in the race. We're going to see a lot of action there.
I wonder if that is being worsened by exaggerated ride height. So you're going to have to run the car a little higher on the back straightaway, but as that thing crests the rise there, that extra few flats of ride height that you've got to put into the car on the backside certainly isn't helping the front axle in terms of lockup.
Andretti immediately to the fore in this final part of practice. Kirkwood and Ericsson dropping the times as they try to move closer to the 33.5 of Palou. Just bedding in the lap times at the moment. Riding on board with Carl Kirkwood, who was fastest of the all-skate on the 33.6.
I mean, these are still out laps, 38.1. About 5 seconds off the pace as they're just getting up to speed here. So funny, you see 183 miles an hour, the top there for Kirkwood, but as he goes around those corners, you see the speed slightly drop, hit a little bit of a correction, he lost a mile or 2. Those are going to be details that matter in qualifying. If you have a little correction, you hit a bump the wrong way through that snaking section of the back straight, it's going to cost you straight line speed, no doubt about it.
See what Kyle Kirkwood gets here for a lap time, 35.4, so still coming down. He's hustling.
A little correction there on the brake pedal into turn 1. And just look how hard you've got to work the steering wheel. Look at how aggressive the kickback is. And there are things you could do as a driver in the setup to try to help that phenomenon.
Here's the challenge, though, for qualifying, James, as we get in this afternoon. This is, I think, Kirkwood's third flying lap now, and it's taken this long to get tire temp to really push. Now you can see him in full send mode. Hands are flying on the wheel. He's charging the brake zones. But in qualifying, if he makes it to the Fast Six, he won't have that chance. It's going to be one single out lap. And how the drivers treat that qualifying run, are they going to be hard clinch steering wheel? How aggressively are they really going to push it? Because one little mistake on cold tires, your run's over.
Oh boy, Kirkwood has just gone faster through the first sector than anyone all weekend. A 49.9 is the best that anyone has done through there. That is an absolutely walloping opening to the lap.
Ride height seems just about right. You can hear just a little bit of kiss with the front end fences touching down on the floor there as he comes to Ranger right. One more corner, and this should be a really good time.
Ericsson to the top at 34.2 through Ranger right. The alt-start finish line just around this left-hander. Kirkwood lighting up this racetrack. Will go to the top. It's a 33.3.
Yeah.
It's easily the fastest time we've seen so far by a good 0.2 of a second.
He's not done yet.
And you know what? His teammate Marcus Ericsson was quicker through this last sector.
Did you see that slip angle into one? That thing looked really, really nice. Perfect control on the brake release.
I'd say it's on the edge of out of control, which is exactly what you need to be there. Beautiful shot from our camera crew, getting the car crest up.
Oh, yeah.
Over the hill there, heading into 4. Concrete wall in the foreground. That's what you're trying to aim for without hitting.
I love it when we get to this part of a new event where drivers are really trusting it. You can hear the tires squirming across the middle everywhere. Purple sector 1 again. Kirkwood going quicker.
Oh boy.
Like, the straight is so long you can't see the end of it. I mean, the chopper doesn't have eyes on turn 10 when you're hovering above turn 9.
Disappears here into that Lowe's Canyon with the bridges, the high buildings.
It's that moment there. Like, right as we picked up that camera, Kirkwood heading towards us, there's a bump that upsets the back of the car. It steps out, and that essentially acts as a little brake.
Still pressing purple sector 2.
Oh, he's absolutely at one right now with this car and with this circuit.
So this is important information for qualifying, guys. You think about those banker runs that we tend to do as Kirkwood lowers the benchmark.
Oh, 33.1
to a 33.1.
Won by 3.5 tenths right now.
And so when you think about the banker laps that these teams traditionally do, with this lap being as long as it is, you're only going to get a few laps, maybe 3 laps time. So this is a little bit of a practice for how you can warm up those tires, what it's going to feel like by lap 3, and then you got to throw on the softs and go for broke.
In the first sector alone, Kirkwood is 0.6 of a second quicker than anyone else.
Gold.
He's losing time
in this session.
Yeah, he's losing time through
Louis
the third
Foster
sector.
off into a brake zone. Ranger right.
We're calling that the bullpen. The runoff there in Ranger right's the bullpen.
Heard Nolan Ryan might be hanging out somewhere this weekend.
Cool. Let's get him up in the booth.
Let's do it. So we have an Andretti. 1, 2, 3. Kirkwood, Power, Ericsson.
But the gap is monumental right now.
Humbling.
Ericsson 1.1 seconds off of Kirkwood. Power 9/10.
Power might be wise to just pit and look at some Kirkwood data real quick and see if he can get out for one more flyer as Power cozies up to that NTT wall.
And you can see it just threw him off enough. Oh, man.
Hit in. No, I'm going to stay out.
Good job to keep it together there. Definitely going to cost him a bit of time. What can McLaughlin do? Sitting down there in P6 right now. We know he was super quick yesterday and earlier in this session. He's out on track on a hot lap.
Romain Grosjean up into the top 5. Told me this morning he was just going to use his the tube from his drinks bottle to chew on to stop his teeth from smashing together over the bumps.
Power's car looks as good as Kirkwood's in terms of ride control and compliance. This is the wall that he brushed up against. Oh no, sorry, we're going to Kirkwood right there. So have to see how Power's lap finished off, still P2.
And there is Romain Grosjean.
Remember, these cars, the Dale Coyne Racing Machines in the season opener at St. Pete, another street course, both into the Firestone Fast 6 on Saturday. These guys wanting to know, I actually spoke, I sat down with Grosjean earlier in the weekend and said to him, I said, hey, look, first race of the season, sometimes people aren't up to, up to race quality yet. Maybe there's some issues with teams, with drivers being a bit rusty. You guys did a good job, but is that the real pace you have, or were you capitalizing on others maybe not being as prepared? He actually gave a pretty good answer, because you got to think, a lot of these teams did more work than DCR did over the offseason. Grosjean not even confirmed in that ride till weeks before the season started. But he said, if I've learned one thing in my time in IndyCar, it's that one day has absolutely no effect on the next. So they're not resting on their laurels from St. Pete. They're not assuming they're going to be good just because that was a street circuit and this is a street circuit. They know they got to go out there and get it done.
Got a great looking race car in terms of performance right now compared to Kirkwood. I like the way that thing's riding. And Grosjean, strong on street circuits. This is his kind of track. It's aggressive.
Always has been. He's always loved a street circuit, no matter what championship he's raced in all the way through his career.
Just big slide there.
Yeah, notice one coming out of turn 5 as well, struggling to get the power down.
Oh, and another little twitch. He's 1.5 seconds down on Kirkwood at the moment. His teammate Dennis Hauger 9/10 back on Grosjean's time.
Talking about rear grip.
No rear grip.
Lack thereof. Palou Ward not getting meaningful laps done right now. Sitting down there in 11th at a 137.2.
You know he started, Grosjean did, on stickers, so we're only talking about how many laps has he done? 6 laps? Going to be a great race, James.
You talked about that tire degradation.
It's all trending in the right direction. High drama on Sunday with high winds, no less. Expecting gusts up to 40 miles an hour tomorrow.
Well, that is the group done. And perhaps no surprise to see Kirkwood back on top. Perhaps it is a surprise to see an Andretti 1, 2, 3. That is exactly what they were hoping for coming into this weekend. They love street circuits. They always go well on brand new tracks. They somehow managed to find that secret sauce immediately. The question, though, is can they transfer that to qualifying, and who can bring the fight to them?
On the combined times from both groups and from the all-skate earlier, that still puts Andretti at a 1-4-5. Palou and Marcus Armstrong have slotted in second and third in the combined times, but a great showing from this team right now. Will Power just still rebounding from that practice 1 issue.
And all Hondas.
This guy looking understandably concerned right now as he debriefs with his team. Palou Ward absolutely nowhere on pace, but fully locked in here, trying to figure it out before qualifying.
Well, the combined times, your top 5 are all Hondas, P6 to P10, all Chevys. It could be open season in qualifying here in Arlington. Be sure to join us at 2:30 Eastern. We can't wait to be with you back on the streets of Arlington. Kirkwood, your fastest driver, coming up next. Elite Youth Basketball.
Versace Crystal Emerald, the new fragrance by Versace.
Verisure is more than a camera. It's an advanced security system that protects your home 24/7. Cameras record while our experts act within 45 seconds to